And welcome back, guys. It's been great. It's been great. This is what I love to do. I love to get to talk Star Wars. It's always been one of my favorite things, and just getting to speak with the boys, essentially, it's great. It's what really keeps me in the Star Wars world, is that it's so expansive and you can talk about any things. And even though, as we've mentioned many times, there are definitely a lot of things about canon, even some things about Legends that we don't like. I do enjoy the fact that canon is a thing because of the juxtaposition between both the timelines, that there is the ability to be able to compare and contrast, that it's not all the same, even though I wish it was all the same. It's still pretty great. I will always have a deep love for Star Wars. That being said, due to such a deep love of Star Wars, I and my compadres here, we enjoy answering different questions about Star Wars too. We've got a couple from some of the viewers, some people from Discord also, certain questions that people want asked, and we have some answers, or at least what we think might be the answers. So one of the first ones came through is from my buddy Simply Good. His first question is, was Luke stronger than Revan? And so I know everyone on this podcast probably has their own specific answer to that, so I'm going to start it off. So in my opinion, I really do believe that when it comes to raw force power, I really believe that Revan probably has the advantage as far as raw force power. Now, when it comes to practical use of the force, skill with the force, different number of skill sets in the force, I think Luke had him beat. I think if it comes to a straight up fight, as far as dueling is concerned, I firmly believe that Luke would win. But I think if you're just talking about like raw power gonna destroy something, I think Revan has Luke beat, like straight up and down the court, regardless of how you look at it. But maybe my compadres here have different opinions, so let's see what Winchie has to say.
No, I actually agree with that. Luke had much more pinpoint skill, I would say. Like, if you asked him to do something that was delicate but required a lot of talent, Luke had it, right? But if you wanted somebody to just bring down a space station, whatever, with the force, Revan's got it. Revan takes the cake. He's so powerful. He's got so much raw power that he has the ability to just unleash at the drop of a hat. Even going toe to toe with Vishit for a little while, but he doesn't have, and which is why Bastilla, right? Like why she was able to bring him back. She's had better skill with what she was doing, right? She had more tact, as opposed to Revan's just brute force. So yeah, I agree with what you said. Luke definitely has more. Like it takes like 10,000 hours to master something, right? But like. Luke put in the 10,000 hours, that kind of thing that people always say, right? Luke put in the 10,000 hours. Revan had a couple thousand hours, and he was just slinging around his power, thinking he's the boss.
Okay, what about you, Hobbs?
Luke slaps Revan 5 ways from Sunday.
Is that it? Is that it? Then period.
Like no period. And not just anything that you guys have said, not just the stuff that you guys said. But, like, the feats that Luke had alone literally make Revan look like he's a part of the Mickey Mouse Club. So...
The fact, what I always think about when it comes to Luke is, like, the fact that he was the first person to navigate the Maw, which is a cluster of black holes, flew into the middle of a cluster of black holes using only the Force to kind of go through it and find the middle. Like Revan could never.
Yeah, for real. Like it's just like Luke is literally the Sorcerer Supreme of the Star Wars universe.
And he went toe to toe with Abeloth, right? Revan could not have gone toe to toe with Abeloth.
Oh, not with Abeloth. Hell no.
Yeah, no. Okay. So the second question is Callista Ming during Clone Wars or Mara Jade pre-Assassin? are you asking who would win in that fight? Because if that's the case, then definitely Callista Ming. The one thing you got to understand about Mara Jade is before she was an assassin, she only had, well, she didn't even really have the understanding. She kind of assumed it, but Palpatine is the one who knew that she was Force sensitive, and that's how he was able to communicate with her across the galaxy. But she had no Force training at that point. She was just kind of going on. She was just kind of doing her own thing, honestly.
Going with the flow.
Yeah, and Callista was a full-on trained Jedi, not close to master level, but she probably could have held her own in like a duel against Anakin. At least Anakin will win for sure, but she could have held her own. She could have definitely held her own in a fight versus Anakin. Hunter, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, we saw her a little bit in Clone Wars, right? Like, back in the books there. I mean, she definitely was a Jedi, and Mara was just a Force sensitive assassin. There's no contest there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And then he had a third question: if Anakin had the high ground, would he still have lost?
Yes.
Yeah. This question was actually answered in Obi-Wan, the show.
Yeah, it didn't matter. The master beat the apprentice.
Yeah.
Or the Padawan. Like, we watched Obi-Wan after 10 years of cut off from the Force almost, still pull up and beat Vader's butt, right? Like, he whooped his ass.
Obi-Wan was also the Padawan of Qui-Gon, who was the Padawan of Dooku, who was like the best like duelist of the order. So like
of the order, yeah.
Granted, Anakin is under Obi-Wan, but technically Obi-Wan is closer to Dooku than Anakin is. So I'm gonna give that some credit too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though Anakin is the one that eventually defeated Dooku, right?
Yeah, by killing him. That scene is great. Have any of you ever read the Hunter might have, the novelization of Episode 3 by Matt Stover?
I had the audiobook. I had the audiobook for it.
Okay, well, I love that view of Dooku because you find out in the books that Dooku was like, racist isn't the right word, but like he absolutely hated people who were like part droid or like who had any kind of like non-human parts of the body. So not only did he detest Anakin for having like the droid hand, but when Anakin's fighting him, he slices off both of Dooku's hands, and Dooku's first thought is, I'm a cripple now. Like, I think that's hilarious. Like he's about to lose his life, and he's like, God damn it, I ain't got no hands.
Yeah. They talk. That's what they talk about in the book, right? They were trying to get the choreography from the book, I believe, to be in there in that deleted scene, if I'm remembering correctly. I
believe that.
And it was the same with the duel with Sheev.
Sheev.
Yeah, I know.
I can't wait till the one episode where we talk about Palpatine and his exploits, because I have a pretty outlandish theory about Palpatine. And just to give you a hint, I believe that he is the galaxy's most powerful closeted gay man. I
can hold on. I have ways to confirm that. So
I'm glad someone is on this. I'm so glad someone is on this train with me, because like
I have ways to confirm that.
Man is too smart, too sassy, and too obsessed with a ripped blonde dude to not be a closeted gay mastermind. Like, no way. No way.
Let's talk. Let me segue into how my man was just like good, really, really close on that one. It was crazy.
No, but when we do the Palpatine episode, we will need that. I'm just gonna let you know right now. I'm gonna let you, because I need it. I need it from my case. I need the world to know that Palpatine was a closeted gay. I need the world to know that. Okay, so the next question here is: after Anakin, was there a new Force Jesus / Chosen One, or was it only him? And this question is from my brother. We were talking about it the other day, and he was basically asking me about Anakin. We were talking, and I was like, well, yeah, Anakin's like basically Force Jesus. No father, was kind of conceived with the Force, or the Forcey spirit, the Holy Spirit equivalent, whatever. And my answer to this question is basically no. The Chosen One was a prophecy that started thousands of years, even in the time of Revan, and a lot of even Jedi scholars and stuff had thought that the Chosen One at the time might have been Revan, and there's a lot of people who thought that the prophecy could possibly be Revan, but no, I think that it was basically just Anakin, and that he fulfilled the prophecy. He's the one who ended up tossing Palpatine down the chute into the core of the Death Star, blowing him up, and bringing a balance to the Force. I don't know if it brought balance to the Force, if that makes sense, but definitely brought a balance. The culmination of thousands of years of the rule of two coming down, literally falling down a shaft and exploding. And I think that that's what he was supposed to do. And though it was definitely a rocky road, I still believe that, basically at the end of the day, Anakin was the only chosen one and fulfilled the prophecy.
This is lies. This is blasphemy that they teach you at the temple. All right. There's no way that Anakin ever fulfilled the dang prophecy, because what did he even accomplish? He wiped out almost all the Jedi, and he dropped some old dude down a chute, but the old dude actually happened to come back to life because magic Force stuff that he can put his soul into another body. He never actually died. So what did he actually accomplish? Nothing. He postponed the Empire being around for like 10 years, maybe 5. It's all lies.
And he brought an end to the rule of two. The Sith had changed. Yes.
What about
absolutely.
What about Snoke and Kylo? They're basically the rule of two.
Okay, look, we've been spending this entire episode talking about Legends, and I get we talked about canon somewhat, comparing Luke Skywalker, but I'm talking about Legends I still think, even to a degree, it doesn't even work with Snoke, because if, even when Snoke was around, Palpatine was still, he had to somehow return, so he was probably already there in the beginning, in the background, just somewhere, just hiding. And what was the planet called? Exegol?
Yeah, and Snoke was his little puppet, so it was basically him all along anyway. So, Kylo was just the next in a long line of Skywalkers that keep getting tempted into dumb stuff.
Okay, you know what? Well, how about this? To keep with the theme of today's episode, let's do it like this. So let's start about Anakin as the chosen one in Legends, and then Anakin as the chosen one in canon. How about we do that? Because I feel like that makes it a little bit easier to battle and talk about, and I feel like, I don't know, it matches the theme at least. Now you may have some points as far as the canon goes, but as far as Legends is concerned, especially since only towards the end of the Legends timeline, with 2 years of it still being the canon of the time, they tried to incorporate the stuff from the Clone Wars with the father and the daughter and the son and everything. And
that was his time to shine, and he screwed it up.
Okay, I can agree with that, but I still believe he is the chosen one.
He could have been the chosen one, but that moment in my mind, that was his chance. The father, the daughter, the son, he was supposed to take the father's place. They're the Celestials, the big Force wielders. They're the ones that keep Abeloth locked up tight in her little maw cave. Okay, and then here comes Anakin with his buddies, and they show up in the whatever other place it's called, alright? And what does he do? He gets all of them killed. Instead of taking the father's place and putting some discipline into the kids, he gets them all killed, ruins the whole balance, unleashes Abeloth. There's absolutely nothing about fulfilling the prophecy in that story. Matter of fact, he did the opposite of fulfilling the prophecy. He probably created a new one where someone else had to deal with his problem.
I can't agree with that, because ultimate balance in the Force was restored. Like,
How?
because once Palpatine is gone, that is the quickest shot for Luke Skywalker himself to establish the new Jedi Order, to bring
But
back.
he didn't for so long.
Okay, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you got to understand balance to the Force, right? So you have two bad guys, Vader and Palpatine, who are basically, for all intents and purposes, the only major Force users in the galaxy at the time. Now, you can kind of say that like Luke is just naturally inclined to be super Force sensitive, super powerful because he's a Skywalker. But when those two big pieces die, I mean, you got to think about it like a scale. Heavily weighted on the dark side, now these two pieces are just gone. And though, like, maybe it's not perfect balance, but there's basically no one in the galaxy at the time who is big Force. Like, you literally got one. Like, granted, there are other few offs here and there and everywhere, and of course the Force is going to manifest itself. But the fact of the matter is, the last line of the prophecy says, "A chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance in the Force be restored."
I just don't think that he brought balance to the Force. I don't feel like what he did. Yeah, he got rid of big man Palpatine. At the end of the day, like, Palpatine comes back. The guy's alive. There's plenty of other big bads that keep coming along, like, and all it really does is give Luke a little bit of time to start trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. But I don't think that was the time that Vader was supposed to shine. Vader wasn't the part of the prophecy. Vader wasn't supposed to fall in the first place. But because Palpatine groomed him for so long, which is a topic that we hear a lot about recently, grooming. Since he groomed him for so long, he was able to turn him away from his destiny and turn him into something, perverse.
So, okay, I mean, I understand. Like, yes, he did turn him away from his destiny. Like, okay, sure. But his son brought him back. Like, that's he was redeemed. It doesn't matter that he turned away from his destiny. He turned back to his destiny. Like, a path, like, two roads diverge in a yellow wood, right? But, like, in the end, you're still going to get to whatever goal is at the end. Like, it doesn't matter that he was turned away. And I mean, that's also part of the prophecy. I mean, it literally says, when the Force itself sickens, past and future must split and combine. Like, so, I mean, I feel like that is indicative of saying that what you're talking about of basically Palpatine swaying Anakin off of his destiny. I mean, I feel like that's a hint at that. The Force itself sickens. The chosen one who is supposed to bring balance to the Force is pulled off the course, and the Force is sickened by it.
So I feel like the sickening more refers to the way that the Jedi were losing their touch with the Force. Not necessarily just pulling the chosen one away and bringing power into the Sith, because balance is good and evil. It's always one or the other is going to be on top, or fighting for control of the other. That's still balance. But the part where you say, like, past and future split and then come back together, right? I think that straight is talking about the father and the kids. The past is the Celestials, the future is Anakin, and they split because the father dies, and they come together because Anakin takes his place, and he is supposed to guide the Force through them. But I still think that was his moment.
No, but if that's the case, if they must split and combine, they never did.
Sure they did. They fought and tried to kill each other.
Well, how did they combine?
Well, that was the point. Anakin was supposed to join with them and like guide them.
So is your point that the prophecy was never fulfilled?
Yes, my point is the prophecy was never fulfilled.
The question is, after Anakin, was there a new Force Jesus or chosen one, or was it only him? So then,
yes,
if that's
my
the
answer
case,
is yes.
It was only
Alana
him?
is the new one. No,
how
Alana
is
is the new one.
How is she the new one? It says, "A chosen one shall come, born of no father." We know her father.
I'm not saying
we know her daddy.
The chosen. Yeah. I'm not saying chosen one in the terms of that prophecy. That prophecy is done for. It's gone. It failed.
That's not how
Anakin was
prophecies
supposed to
work.
do the thing. He didn't do the thing. Sure, it is. This is the only prophecy we hear about, really. Like, how many prophecies in Star Wars do we know about?
I'm pretty sure only that one.
Exactly. So there's no precedent to say that prophecies have to come true.
Okay, but there's also no precedent to say that there's a new chosen one.
But there is, because we have a vision. We have the knowledge that Cadus
Okay,
got.
but using your logic against you, like, who's to say that that's going to come true?
Especially
I'm
since
not saying
canon,
it is. Especially since
we don't
canon
know.
has erased that. Exactly. So you can't say that you have no empirical evidence to support your claim. That doesn't even make sense. Like, no way. Like, you could say, I mean, there were plenty of Force visions, though. Like, who's to say that a Force vision is equivalent to a prophecy?
But it's a little different because he was in the well of knowledge, right? It's a little different because he was in the well of knowledge that grants you those
because
kinds of...
he also forced the change to happen.
Right? Which means that things like that can change.
You can't force a prophecy. That's not... You can't force a prophecy.
Sure you can.
No, you can't.
Who says you can't?
Tell me find me one other example ever in anything where someone has forced a prophecy. Come on, I'll wait. I got time.
All right. Let me think. Okay, I feel like I could pull some like Dune references into here. I feel like there's some stuff they did in Dune, if I remember correctly, where Paul just screws it all up.
If you remember correctly. No, good case. Solid foundation.
Look here, all right. Alana's the new one. They were building her up to be the new one. That's how it's gonna be.
Okay, you know what? And I'll concede that. I will concede that maybe they were building her up to be a new one, but we don't know. And I don't think that there's enough evidence.
No, and we never will.
Yeah, we never will. But I don't think there's enough evidence to even start that argument. Like, sure, there was a Force vision.
I feel like there's enough to like get it going. Obviously, there's not enough to like come at you. Here's the excerpt from this scripture saying XYZ. But
listen then. So I'm gonna take your point and make another point. If you're going to say that, then I'm going to say no, screw off. It was Ben Skywalker, because there was also a vision on a battlefield of Ben Skywalker facing Vestara. And if I think that anyone has the potential to be the next chosen one, it's Ben Skywalker. His dad is Luke Skywalker. His mother is Mara Jade, both of which are incredibly more strong in the Force compared to Jason Solo and Tenel Ka having a child together.
Okay,
I have the same base you do. A vision from two different people at that. You've got one person, I've got two, coming from two stronger Force parents.
That's fair. However,
I've got the exact same
it didn't come from the well of knowledge.
Okay, but it could have. We don't know. They didn't look.
Well, there you go. So you have no...
I have just as strong of an argument as you do. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I'm not saying it's a strong argument. I'm just saying, in my opinion, the question was, do you think that there's another chosen one? And I think there is.
I can definitely see that. Like, I can definitely see the point you're arguing. I just disagree. Now, I do think the actual prophecy itself is open to interpretation. I think that, especially since I believe it's Yoda who says a prophecy misread could have been something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, talking strictly legends, in my opinion, it was only ever Anakin as the chosen one. And it's only, and I know it's like probably the weakest point that I have, but it's literally and simply because of the fact that the prophecy says a chosen one shall come, born of no father. I think
I'm not denying that Anakin was the chosen one at all, especially in terms of that prophecy. I agree that he was the chosen one. I'm totally on board with that. I just don't think that he brought balance to the Force. I don't think he fulfilled the prophecy fully.
Okay,
like
well,
he was meant to.
We can go with that. And even though he maybe he didn't fulfill the prophecy, I'm willing to concede that point also. I still think that he was the only chosen one, and that's because the question is asking, after Anakin, was there a new Force Jesus, a chosen one, or was it only him? My answer is that it was only him. It was only ever him. There was never a prophet, like, though we have a vision of Alana as Queen of the Jedi, there was never a prophecy. I think what makes Anakin the chosen one is the fact that there was a prophecy about him, and though he may not have fulfilled him, he is the only one who meets the criteria of born of no father to be the chosen one. And that's why I think that it was only him, that there was no one else that was close to being the chosen one described in that prophecy. And that,
oh yeah, for sure,
that Anakin is like the answer to Brick 3PO's question is the fact that it was only him. That's the point I'm trying to make.
I agree that in terms of that prophecy, it is only Anakin. He is the only chosen one in terms of that prophecy. I just do think that they were building Alana up to be the next chosen one. And I feel like at some point they would have pulled a prophecy out of some random holocron that they found in some, forgotten temple or whatnot, and would have busted out with oh man, she's the next, Force goddess or whatever. I think that was going to be the build up eventually, but they never got there, of course, because Disney stole it all. I do agree that in terms of the prophecy in question, no, there's no one else except Anakin that fulfills that marker.
I win. Get wrecked. I win.
I'll eat dirt. It's fine.
Now that we've hashed out the legends, I want to go back to canon, because I think that my answer for canon would still be the same way. Now, originally, I thought that after watching The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, that it could have been possible that Rey would have been the chosen one. Until we got The Rise of Skywalker, and then you're like, she's Palpatine's granddaughter. What the hell? Like, what are you guys doing? Because, like, that would have made sense, because we didn't know anything about her parents. So if you had told me born of no father, I could have believed it. Ultimate balance to the Force, in my opinion, because I feel like Rey is the closest thing that we get to, like, a gray Jedi in the canon timeline, at least from media's perspective. So yeah. And so, and I also agree that it kind of lines up with the whole, when the Force itself sickens, past and future must split and combine, because Luke went off and did his hermit thing, and that's the past, and then future, she's doing her own thing, but then they come together at the end. She gets some, wisdom, at least some guidance from him, and that's them combining. Now, if you had stopped at The Last Jedi and told me that Rey could have been like the next chosen one, I could have believed that until Rise of Skywalker.
Right, until they showed you her literal parents.
Yeah, exactly. But so I guess my answer to that question for canon is it's still only Anakin as the chosen one. I don't know what do you think about that?
No, I agree. Rey's definitely not the chosen one. She's cool. She's Rey. She's Palpatine's granddaughter, which is definitely a thing on its own. But yeah, no, she's not the chosen one. She's just chosen by Palpatine to be the protagonist.
Man, you know what I love about Star Wars and Palpatine is that, like, regardless of what timeline you're talking about, that dude was an actual galaxy brain. Closeted gay, but galaxy brain.
He does do quite a bit of machination.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
He's working for like forever to infiltrate the Galactic Senate, because he doesn't necessarily like, fighting with lightsabers, because he likes showing off his Force powers and his big brain more. He orchestrates an entire war where the Jedi get them by the army of Jedi killers that he claimed using their money. And then, afterwards, after you kill him and you think he's dead, well, he just comes right back. All along, that was his plan. And he has a granddaughter now, so he can hop in that too.
All right, so actually, I don't want to miss you, Hobbs. Did you have any answer to that?
That one was my chance to let you guys go at it while I ate popcorn. So.
All right, so then we'll move on to the next question. So we're going, let's see, I believe this one's from Quicks. I think this one was from Quicks. Is Starkiller from Star Wars Legends stronger than Darth Vader? So, in my honest opinion, I think that Starkiller's Force potential is definitely greater than Darth Vader's, because not Anakin Skywalker though, because Anakin Skywalker with a full body, the Chosen One as Darth Vader would be fucking insane. But Darth Vader, after losing so many fucking limbs, I think that Starkiller would definitely have more Force potential, but he just doesn't get the resources he needs because he's trained in secret. Palpatine doesn't know about him. When he finds out, he orders him to die. I don't think that he ever gets to be stronger than Darth Vader. So my answer to your question is no. He's not stronger than Darth Vader, but he had the potential to be. That would be my honest answer to that question.
Bob, do you want to go? You played the games more than I have.
Yeah, no, for sure, I agree. Now, if you got into the DLC where like you were like the Sith Stalker or whatnot, you could say that he possibly had the potential. But like as far as it goes without the DLC, you get very, very close. But it's just like Nikita said, he just didn't have the resources or anything like that to be properly trained. Like if he were properly trained, then yeah. But like out of it all, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I only ever played the DS game, so I never got DLC, man. But I agree. I mean, he trained like he trained Darth Vader trained him, but like the Master is kind of the same like Obi-Wan Anakin thing. Like Anakin could try, Anakin gets close, but he never quite gets there to beat Obi-Wan, right? Same deal. Starkiller tried, he got close, but he got trained by the dude. So the dude knows every one of his moves already.
Mm-hmm.
He may have the potential, but like you said, he just didn't get. He got snuffed out before he could make it.
Yep. And that's a good segue into the next question that I got asked, which was someone asked, is Luke actually stronger than Anakin? And in my opinion, the answer to that question is yes, because where Luke gets at the end is just way stronger than where Anakin had time to, because like losing the first hand to Dooku, that's fine because most of his body is still actually his body, so he's a better conduit for the Force. But by the time he becomes Darth Vader, basically becoming a human stump kind of stops that. Now, like I was mentioning before, like if you have a Darth Vader where the only thing that he is missing is his right hand, that Vader trained to fruition kills Palpatine hands down. Like there's no way Palpatine could ever compete. You gotta understand, that is legitimately Force Jesus. Like midichlorian count higher than Yoda, coming straight out like his mom got impregnated by the Force, came out as just a royal badass, trained late, sure, but any training to completion, to actual mastery of the Force, like I don't think there's anyone in the Star Wars universe who would have been stronger than a fully trained Anakin with a human body. But when it comes down to if Luke is actually stronger than Anakin, I think regardless of if you look at it from a canon standpoint or if you look at it from a legend standpoint, the answer is always yes. Luke is stronger than Anakin.
Yeah, I agree. Even we never see like, for instance, well, I mean, Vader would never project himself across the universe as like a Force, entity that looks real, except for like, the footprints, right? Also, Luke was able to use Force lightning, something Vader never could do. Mm-hmm. And like Luke had Shatterpoint. Vader didn't have Shatterpoint, right? Like there were so many things that Luke could do that Vader and Anakin just never got.
And Shatterpoint's busted. Even Jaina could use Shatterpoint. That shit is. I love Shatterpoint. That's one of my favorite Force abilities.
Speaking of Shatterpoint, there is a new tabletop Star Wars game called Star Wars Shatterpoint, and I want to talk to you about it after this because it looks awesome, and I think you'd like it a lot.
Bet.
What is Shatterpoint?
Shatterpoint is a Force skill that allows you to see like how basically fate and what your actions intertwine to form crystallized weak points that if you hit, the entire thing will literally shatter or just disintegrate.
Jason Solo used this on Beskar. Jason Solo was able to shatter Beskar by tapping it. Just a little tap. That's how strong it is.
Yeah, it literally like crystallizes a point on an object or a person or whatever. If you hit that point, it's game over. It doesn't matter who it... Like, the reason why Mace Windu does not kill Palpatine, he sees his shatter point, and because Anakin intervenes, the shatter point shifts, and then he gets his shatter point hit and dies. Like, that is basically the gist of it. You hit someone's shatter point, is GG. All right. Let's see. Moving on to the next question. We got a lot of good questions today. We're not going to answer all of them today. This is going to be the last one that we answer. But anything that was asked that was not answered today, we will get into future episodes. We'll make sure to keep a log of them. But this next question was also asked by our good friend Quix, and it is: did the inhibitor chips in the clone troopers' heads really affect their aim when they got activated? Now, what I'm going to say about this is, I personally do not think so, and I don't have any evidence to support that. I believe that the Clone War, like the clones, until their death, were just peak soldiers who were clones of one of the best, Mandalorians of the time, the Mandalore at that. And I think that their aim wasn't really affected. Like, maybe towards the end when they get older, but we even see Rex as an old ass bald man in the desert still f***ing them up, basically. And so no, I don't think that affected their aim once it got activated. I think the reason why why stormtroopers suck so much is that they stopped making clones and started enlisting people, and people suck. That's basically why I think, like, as you progress from clone troopers to stormtroopers, you get less accurate shots because you just don't have the badasses that you had during the Clone Wars. You've got regular old people coming in conscripted and kind of trying to do their own thing and absolutely failing at it. That's why stormtroopers suck.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I have no points. Like, conscripted soldiers are not going to be better than an entire force of Jango Fett's, sub-Mandalorian clones who are trained from birth. Yeah, there's no way.
Literally, what was it called? Was it the flash learning? What was it called?
Oh yeah. It was flash learning. They literally just like downloaded it into their brains almost, right?
Yeah, so I think that the inhibitor chip did nothing except for stop them from listening to their own emotions and had to listen to direct orders, which is what, like, they were clones, but they were also, like, the books do a really good, and you know what, the Clone Wars series does a good job at showing us this too, is that they may have been clones as far as, like, genetic templates go, but they were all their own individuals. These were all their own people. They were not all Jango Fett. They were all cloned from Jango Fett, but they were not all Jango Fett. Yeah, that's what made it.
Yeah, something I love that they brought back from the books. They weren't just guys in helmets.
They were guys in helmets who were different guys in each helmet.
Yep, they had names and identities. They had personalities. Oh yeah.
But that is all for this evening, guys. Thank y'all so much. Be sure to follow the podcast on YouTube and on Spotify at The Force Unscripted. May the Force be with you. Thank y'all all so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next time. I hope you guys enjoy the little ending song that we have played. I got some music commissioned, and I hope you guys enjoy, and we will catch you all later.